Hello, thank you. I would like to call upon Jesus's consciousness, subconscious, higher self, and any other collective that is actively assisting in humanity's transition at this time.
Yes, the Christ consciousness that you are hoping to dial into and tap into today is here for you, Erin. So there is the consciousness of Jesus when he was walking this earth is here. Remembering that he was often in meditative states. And so when he is in those meditative states, because there is the illusion of time, he is in his current day, as you are in your current day. And we want you to accept that for the sake of this conversation. Not because we're trying to manipulate and trick you, but it just is convoluted when you try to understand and process time as you perceive it to be linear. So you have Jesus's consciousness here, and you have his support team and his guides that were helping him in his journey, in his life mission as the man you call Jesus. And as the man comes in, he would like to know, what is it from his information and his life experiences and his lessons that he tried to encourage and impress on humanity in his day? What messages translated out into your current day? It is not a trick question. It is merely a statement. Everyone knows his life and who he was in some degree, but he would like to remind people that you may know more popular pop stars or rock stars or celebrities and their lives in and out more than you are even familiar with Jesus. And he is saying it's not entirely all your fault, because his teachings and lessons did get hidden and manipulated and misused for others' agendas. But he is saying, you could have all connected in with me and wondered, wondered, what would Jesus do? And he's mocking the fact that he is an icon and that he has those. There are people that are using those slogans. He is laughing at himself, but laughing at the cultural iconic creed that he is now seeing. He wishes that his messages were more prevalent than say some celebrities, because his empowerment and his messages to humanity were a lot more empowering and encouraging than say materialism and peer pressure and the reality TV programs. He wants to say. So he does have humor, and this conversation that you are having is with his support team as well, and also his graduated mindset when he transmuted himself into a higher dimension as well. So you can ask him directly from his consciousness, and you can ask him directly through his collectives and his bigger perspective. So all versions of him are here to help you, to assist you, if this is significantly important for you to know today.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. And the linear time concept is still a tough one for us, but his, from my very limited knowledge of his actual authentic life, his message was love. And I was hoping to connect in with the Christ consciousness, his team, in order to translate his teaching and the Christ consciousness elevated mindset of loving other people to current day, and to really break that down so that people can understand it even further.
Yes, we understand that it is hard for humans to understand what love of self is. We understand that humans find it hard to love themselves and have pure love of others without expectations of something back. Unconditional love is very scarce for many, because when you're holding on to the traumas of these lives, you don't have the luxury to feel and enjoy love as you're still running around with fear.
Absolutely.
We want to say that love and fear or hate, there is no opposite. Love is pure, high vibrational energy that is uplifting and empowering. And there is nothing that is, we understand that people say you have to have darkness to create the light, or the light that creates the shadow of the darkness. But really, the only thing that exists is love, and all explorations to find love. To experience not love is an experience, but it's always returning back to love.
Can you break that down into what a lot of, with the narrative of the dark? Can you translate what you just said, or maybe break it down further to how we understand the dark agenda to translate into love?
All experiences are experiences. They're all significant and important. Remembering when you are high dimensional beings, which are always marinated in love, there is no worries and there is no problems, and it's all observations. The more you want to learn and have different experiences, the harder the difference is when you separate yourself from love, when you separate yourself from source, to have those different experiences. Remember, we always say that there are no good or bad experiences, just experiences. So as you're consciously experiencing different things, you have to, and you want to experience, in quotation marks, the dark. It is explorations of all. It is like 100 different flavors of ice cream. You must experience them all to know what they all feel like and taste like. You may have some favorites, you may have some preferences, but you want to explore all of them because you're entitled to taste them all, feel them all, explore them all. There's significance there, there's learning there, there's growth there. We say even a pickle ice cream could give you an experience of learning. And so while you all have signed up to have pickle lifetime experiences of ice cream, which may be the dud relationships, which may be the challenging relationships, while it may be some hurdles that you've put into your life contracts to experience and explore, it's still experiences, lessons. It's important. So you choose to have these different experiences than your very comfortable vanilla ice cream that you love. And so we know we're using lots of different analogies, but you can understand when you have one ice cream for eternity, you want different flavors, you want different experiences, and you are so comfortable knowing who you are that you don't mind having the pickle ice cream for dinner. Shall we say, to make it lighter so you can laugh with us, because you are supposed to take this life half-heartedly, and my goodness, you take it so seriously. My goodness, you study that pickle ice cream, you calculate every factor of it, you worry about it, you fear for it, you cry for it, you say that it's not fair. I don't want to eat the pickle ice cream. I'm going to have a patty. I'm going to have a tantrum. I don't like it. I don't want it, because you've forgotten that you put that in your menu on your life contract, that pickle ice cream will be in this experience. And so you think that you're a victim to your own decision making when you're choosing this lifetime. We're still trying to make humor out of this because we feel you're so dense and tense. My goodness, we're going to ask you all now to release any tension that you have in your bodies, because you're so tight. You're so anxious. You're so still waiting for the next thing to just come out of the corner of the closet. And we're saying, whatever comes out of that corner of that closet, you've chosen that. It could be pickle ice cream, or it could be something else, but you've chosen to experience it for very important lessons and experiences. And we know that experiences, and the word using experiences, does not cut it when you're wanting definitive information for all of your individual life experiences and contracts that you have. But remember, we're talking to more than just one person right now. So we cannot define why you have chosen that pickle ice cream, why you wanted to have it, why you feel wretchedly, disgustedly gross when you know it's going to clash with your senses of your taste buds. Remembering, you don't feel so offended when you think about yourself signing up for pickle ice cream. You think, ugh, that's a laugh, that's that gross. Gosh, imagine that would be funny if I decided I actually liked that. That would be strange. But it's not the end of your realities. It's not the worst thing that you're ever going to experience. There could be some other flavors that you've already experienced that you know are not your favorites. But as you graduate and grow and expand your flavors and experiences of the ice cream, it is okay. It is all okay. So now apply the information we've just given you about the pickle ice cream, and then put it onto an experience that is probably one of the hardest things you've had to experience in your lifetime. Maybe a breakup, or a death, or something else in your life that you feel like there's no way you would have wanted this experience. There's no way you would have signed up for life to have that experience. And we want to say and remind you all that you have always been loved, you've always been supported and protected, and your life lessons are being worked through, and we are supporting you and helping you through this. We know you were very brave when you signed up for all 100 ice cream flavors. We also knew that you also were thinking, I don't know if I'd like the pickle one, but I must experience it because I've never had pickle ice cream before. So I must experience it this lifetime. I must experience it now, because I'll never have another opportunity for the pickle ice cream. And you may quiver and shake and be afraid when you've got it in your mouth and you know you have to swallow it. And you may feel like you've been forced this, and be upset and cry and feel so scared. And remember the other sweeter flavors you've experienced on other days. But it's an experience of having that, overcoming that, allowing yourself that growth of opportunities of flavors. We know that you wanted to ask about the dark, and we have changed it into a lighter conversation about pickle ice cream. We're not trying to be condescending to your question, but we're trying to make a soft analogy that nothing you have experienced is disempowering you and impacting you unless you want it to disempower you and impact you. Knowing that you signed up for it, knowing you wanted to have that flavor and taste because of the opportunities that it can afford you.
Thank you. I did like the analogy and I appreciate the lighthearted approach. So just to also translate my questions with that same analogy. So is it fair to say that everyone has signed up for pickle ice cream, even though they don't remember it? If it's being served to them at a restaurant, they actually did order it.
Yes, it is a pre-assigned experience. So you go to the restaurant and you know that your order is already pre-organized by you, no one else. You have chosen the menu. You have chosen it. Many have decided, I do not want pickle ice cream in this lifetime. Thank you very much. And have got smaller ranges of experiences because they don't want to have, for whatever reasons, they've had 5 other lifetimes maybe where the pickle ice cream was the main menu. Maybe you feel like you've got the pickle ice cream for the entire menu. However you see your life. But it is so disempowering when you think that someone's forcing pickle ice creams onto you. So know that sometimes you have to experience something to overcome it, to learn from it. And as soon as you learn from that experience and understand it and empower yourself to move on, then you don't need to keep repeating it. And so it is about overcoming emotions. We cannot use the analogy of the pickle ice cream for overcoming your experiences. Maybe if you said and knew that everything that you've ever tasted in the ice creams was an experience for you, and it was growth for you to know what all of those different flavors were. You're not still hung up on eating the pickle ice cream when you have a strawberry ice cream or something of your preference. You shouldn't be having another favorable ice cream flavor and still brewing over that one time you had to have the pickle ice cream. Remembering the day that the pickle ice cream experience happened may not have been nice. You may have had a longer taste in your mouth that you may not have appreciated. But that experience is gone in the past. You had that. And now you get to choose how you want to process that. You get to choose. You're going to keep reminding yourself of the taste, smelling the pickles to remind you exactly what it feels like, remembering the time, remembering the time, remembering the time. That is those people who are holding on to the past, the trauma, the challenges, reminding themselves of how disgusting it was, reminding themselves of this, while they're still eating delicious, yummy ice cream today. They're not acknowledging what they have right in front of them. They're still bitter over the hardship of the pickle ice cream. They're ignoring the delicious flavors that is right there in front of them.
So with keeping on this analogy, well, let's say two people are in a restaurant and are served pickle ice cream, didn't remember that they ordered it. One of them eats pickle ice cream, doesn't complain, exits the restaurant. The other one doesn't eat the pickle ice cream, complains, leave the restaurants still complaining. How will each of them feel when they are out of the restaurant and out of the experience? AKA, how are we going to feel based on our reaction when we are out of this experience?
When you're out of the experience and you have the veil removed, you'll be very neutral with the experiences and the choices that you have been able to have. And those experiences will be the totality of your earth experience. And so you will have all the different flavors you've had, and you know that. And then when you collectively bring the consciousness back together, all of you, the totality of you will be able to know that you've had the full range of ice creams. It is challenging to have the veil of non-remembrance, but that is the lessons here. That is there is not that much growth if you came here and remembered that you are these higher advanced beings having a human lifetime. The lessons are the experiences. And because you are all part of source, because you are all higher dimensional beings, naturally vibrating at a much higher rate, you're comfortable with that. And that's why you've wanted to have these experiences. This is why many want to master the third dimension on this planet, on this realm, because they want to complete all of the obstacles and challenges. They want to be able to do this. But as we were saying the other day in this session, humanity's options, instead of going to the ice cream store and having the 5 traditional flavors, humanity has found itself with 50,000 100 flavors. And instead of mastering a few, you've added on so many other flavors. It's much more of a bigger experience. So it is challenging to master things that keep expanding and giving you more opportunities for experiences. But as you know, that has come at a cost to the vehicle you're in.
That is coming to a cost to the vehicle that you're in. Can you expand on that?
All of the extra experiences that humanity is exploring on. We can't use the analogy of the ice creams anymore for this. So the experiences that you can have here in this planet are very dense and fast. And it's all to awaken you to remember who you are and to empower you to be higher vibrational, to get you back on track, to be loving, to remember that you are love and that you can share love and give love and receive love. And so it is about remembering who you are. But there's so much distractions. How can you focus on the purpose and reasons why you have asked for these ice cream flavors when there just keeps getting more and more and more ice cream flavors to explore and distract yourself with? Did that work? Did that explain the human experience?
Disinformation ice cream flavors.
Distractions, it is distractions. It is just because it's a disinformation experience doesn't mean it's not a valid experience.
There are a lot of distractions, and it has also come to my attention that not everyone is on a level playing field right now. And that was the main reason I wanted to tap into the Christ consciousness to discuss with them how they would handle the current situation we are in. And I have different specific questions on this, but for example, like while asking the Christ consciousness or the team of Jesus, his spiritual team, I have a few questions how they view how we should be handling things. The first one is if someone that they knew, like a loved one, was asleep, and this is for not me, this is not my question, this is for the majority. If someone I knew that I loved was asleep, what would the Christ consciousness recommend that I do to wake them up? Or should I wake them up?
Let's use this analogy as a literal person that is physically in their beds, sleeping, and you have woken up early. Now, does that person need to sleep until a certain time to be fresh and awakened for their day? Or do you need to suddenly abruptly wake them up because there is a house on fire?
Well, is the house on fire or is it a normal day?
Well, that is the point. Do you wake them up because you're bored and you want them to entertain you while you both are awake waiting for the day to begin? Or are you trying to alert them to an exterior force that could threaten them and injure them and hurt them? There is many analogies that we could use here, but knowing that that person has their own body routine, has their own team, and they have plans for their day. And so if you're trying to wake up someone just for your purpose and your agenda and your desire, do you think that they're going to be always grateful that you have woken them up just because you have woken up earlier? They may have an alarm clock, aka they may have a spiritual team that is waiting for them to wake up at the most appropriate time. And so for you trying to awaken someone when there is no real reason, just because you're bored and wanting them to wake up so you can communicate with them, usually what would happen is someone would wonder, excuse me, why are you waking me up? I was very comfortable in my slumber. I was very relaxed. My body is regenerating. My mind is regenerating. Why would you bother me and wake me up for no apparent reason? The house is not on fire.
Well, I would have used other choice words, but yes, that was a very nice way. Yes, I absolutely understand and have experienced this myself. No, if they want to sleep, let them sleep. I understand. It is a popular obstacle or confusion, so that is the reason why I wanted to discuss that specifically. Another thing I wanted to discuss was shadow work and why is it important for people to do shadow work right now?
Well, they're being forced to do it because their vibration is raising so fast on this planet that any density of emotions, physically or mentally, are being pressurized out. So many are wanting to do their inner work because they're so dense naturally. So it is important for people to find what is heavy within them emotionally and physically and be able to release it with much love. It is always going to be in people's faces if they ignore it. And this is why people are really struggling right now, because they have sort of ignored it for so long that they are being forced awake by their spiritual team. So they're feeling that purge and density through their bodies. They're getting the headaches. They're getting a whole lot of pressurized systems that they're noticing because they are being forced awake by their spiritual teams and the vibrations of this planet.
Could you go into more detail about body changes that are occurring right now? Because there are quite a few, and quite a few people are going through them and are confused about it.
Mm-hmm. So the body is acclimatizing itself to a higher frequency. So it is feeling the pressure of that. It's making them feel the density of their physicality. So the higher frequency is not just being tuned on and ramping up. It has peaks and dips. And so that is a roller coaster of vibrations that the body is trying to work through. And so regardless of what peak you're in, whether it's a high peak or a low peak, your physical body is responding to that. And so you're having these dips to be able to encourage and make you notice when you're feeling that density and when you're not. And so the body is responding to that. Many people are energetically releasing through body fluids. Many people are just finding that there is disconnects within their bodies that they are purging through. So it's a detoxification energetically. Plus, there's much energy of reflecting and rethinking belief systems, experiences, and many are awakening up to bigger concepts that have been sort of hidden from them. So the body is doing so much to climatize to the frequency of the vibrations of the planet and each other. And so you've had some time apart from each other through the lockdowns. And so you have acclimatized to your own higher vibrational frequency. Um, Many people are feeling very lethargic because it's a lot of inner vibrations that you're doing. The cells are doing so much different things than what they used to be doing. So you're really detoxifying so much energetically, and you're all expanding because the frequency, the higher frequency that this planet is having is growing energetically. And you're noticing that within your electrical systems because you are really all electrical current physical bodies. So you're feeling it so much more, even with even beyond your own physical body, you're experiencing this energy thrust. And so there is so much going on, but it is heightened and pressurized because the planet is going through many changes, as humanity is going through many changes, and you're experiencing this. A lot of you are starting to feel very unsettled, nervous almost, that there is something brewing. And the reality is, you know what is brewing. It's the changes for this planet and for humanity. It is epic times, shall we say.
Indeed, it is. It seems like everyone is getting an extraordinary amount of support. A truly epic amount of support from behind the veil, from our teams, from higher dimensional beings. Could you go into any details on that and on how they are helping us with these changes and working through our triggers and releasing the 3D baggage that we are attempting to work through?
The systems and support teams that you've had have always been the same. You're just starting to notice them now because your frequency vibration is starting to match them. So your consciousness was at a very dense level quite some time ago. And the more that the frequency of the planet has been risen, the more you're closer to the vibrational match of the consciousness of your subconscious, your other high dimensional selves, your other parts of you. Because you all are multidimensional beings connected to source still through different fractions, you are still always supporting each other. You're supporting yourselves and you're supporting the others that you have come here to experience different life experiences with. And so we've always been here and you've always been there in this lifetime. And so we've always been consistent. You're just starting to notice us now, and then you're starting to respond, which is very good for us because finally you can hear us and notice us. And this is part of your awakening to more than just yourselves. So that is fantastic. And so we are supporting you because we know your life contract, we know what you want to do, and we are helping you the best way we can to navigate you to having all of the experiences that you've chosen for this lifetime. Plus expanding on if you are choosing more experiences for various reasons. So just because you think that we're invisible doesn't mean that we don't exist. We are very much existing in different dimensions that you can't physically see right now, but you can sense our energies. And when you stop distracting yourselves and take the time to go within, you notice that there is an inner peace that often you've been distracting yourself from focusing on. And when we say go and do your inner work and find the inner peace, it gives you that break, that peace of mind to then be able to balance yourself more clearly, to be able to then process and experience those challenges that you still haven't gotten over to then be able to find yourself back into neutral, to find yourself back into the inner peace. So you have to find a balance. If you're constantly in worry or fear or disempowerment, you just keep manifesting that because that's all you want to think about. It's your only focus. So when you can stop and start honoring that inner peace that you have within you, it balances you out to be able to cope with all of the experiences that are a little bit more challenging than others.
Could you go through the different ways that you are, I don't use push, prodding? No, that's not the right word either. Trying to encourage or get the attention of someone who has signed up for an experience but is consciously unaware of that and is distracting themselves or hiding. Could you go through the different ways in which you are trying to get their attention so people can be aware of
No,
that?
there's unlimited ways that we do this. So you're asking us to give you a billion list of all the ways we do things. We're constantly working to help you. And so you just don't notice. You just think that it is just you on your little mission of life. But we are watching you and providing you with the connections and the experiences constantly for you to have the experiences that you need. We bring people into your life. We help you. We do so much for you while you still think that you are moving through life. So we are constantly helping while also constantly trying to support others to be able to make all of the connections work for all of the experiences. So sometimes it's not you that needs the experience, it's someone else, but you're playing the role to be able to do what you need to do for them to be able to have the experience. So there is so much. You're asking for us to give you a daily list of everything we do for you, and that is not possible. And we are talking to many people. So you can use your imagination to understand what we have to do to try and support you and get your attention for you to be able to notice that you always have opportunities for growth. You noticing when you've outgrown something, you've overcome something, it doesn't exist in your world anymore because you've already mastered that tick. You don't need to keep mastering the same one thing. So you're noticing you're having different experiences in your lives because it is growth. We're trying to get as much experiences in for you as possible.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't stop to think about how complicated that could be. And I know that was a very dumbed down explanation. So wow.
You were expecting us to say, we give you butterflies and feathers just to know we're here, and that's all we do. And the reality is, we do so much more, so much more. And as you can imagine, it gets kind of frustrating to do all of this extra work and for you to be oblivious to it. And often we know that it is a life service that we're going to provide for you, that you're going to be completely unaware of us, and we're just behind the scenes helping. And that is fine. We have signed up for it because potentially you've done the same thing for us. So, we're not trying to complain here, but it's cute for you to think that we would have just said, just left some feathers for you. That's all we do. We do so much more. And you're getting that now. So thank you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, from the perspective of the Christ consciousness, what is the most appropriate if Jesus was on earth, right, like in our now, in our present day, what would be a focus of his attention or your goal for him to be focusing his attention on, like in our current day?
his mission would always be the same. He would still be trying to promote the love, compassion, consideration, and to remind people that there is more than just humans in this human experience, that there is much more protection and comfort while you just enjoy these lives to experience the physical 3D. He would still be the same. He would still have the same mission, and he would still be trying to be of service to show and give people examples of how compassionate humanitarians look like.
So that sounds like something that anyone can attain. And I don't mean that with any disrespect, trust me, but anyone can choose to be a compassionate humanitarian.
Yes, Christ, your Jesus, was a human. He was having a human life. While he has other experiences, he is a other higher dimensional being. He is the same as all of you. And so his choices, the way that he lived his life, is choices that others could also have. Remembering that it is choices of how you perceive life, how you behave, what is your agenda and focus. You can still have all of your experiences and still be a loving, compassionate being.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for saying that. I see what you're saying. There, people are struggling, and it is showing in different ways with individual people. But is it fair to say that everyone is on some level struggling right now, and anyone who is aware enough to be listening to these messages should also be trying to focus their energies on helping other people as well who don't have the higher perspective?
We want to say that Jesus didn't want to be worshipped. He actually just wanted to show people a good example of what a good humanitarian is. He wasn't trying to be a leader and an influencer. He was trying to just be a way shower. And so he was trying to remind people of who you all are. And he has still been trying to do that. But then people disempower themselves and think that they're separate from him and feel humbled by him and not good enough. And that's literally what he was wanting people to know, was that they are equal. They are part of him. He is a part of you. You are all one. You're all equal. You all have an opportunity for an experience of lessons and learning. And while you're wanting to experience it, you can still be kind and compassionate and supportive to others. And he didn't want to be a leader. No true humanitarian wants to be a leader. They want to encourage and empower all. They don't want to stand out. They want to be stood amongst you all and be one together and grow together and support each other through these lives. Whatever life experiences you wanted to have, we'll be able to support each other as communities. So, yes, we're well aware that many people have disconnected themselves to communities for whatever reason. They don't want to be with the sleeping people. They don't want to tolerate the sleeping people. They treat the sleeping people like lepers. And as you know, Jesus had no problems with lepers. And Jesus does not have any problems with the sleeping people. Let them rest if they need to keep resting. Love them and tuck them in if they are struggling. Support them. Have compassion. Just because you're in a different vantage point from your perspective doesn't mean you are the right one. Doesn't mean that you're the alarm clock for all. Doesn't mean that you're the rooster with the biggest voice screaming at others to wake up. Be humble with your wisdom, knowing that things are not quite right here and haven't been for a very long time, even the days of Jesus. This has been a problem for humanity, not just your generation. It has just continued on and on and on. Different experiences and harder challenges. Growth, compassion, consideration, and truly seeing people for people who are having these experiences, but trusting they have their own spiritual teams and trusting they are high dimensional beings. And if sleeping is part of their life contracts, honor all life contracts. It is ego for those people who want to awaken others. If you are to awaken at this point, you naturally would. And if you need to have a broadcast, or if you need to have public information exposed for you to learn, that is what you will have. You do not need it from your family. It needs to be unfolding as it needs to be. Getting that from our perspective, we know these people. If some outside forces was making a noise and waking someone up in the middle of the night, it would be okay. They would be curious and fine. If you are shaking your loved ones in the middle of the night to wake up for no apparent reason, they're not going to be okay with it, are they? They're going to be annoyed and curious and bothered. Sleep is very restful and rejuvenating. And sometimes lives that are asleep is also more resting and rejuvenating. Do not judge, do not understand, do not assume to understand what other people's life contracts are. Just because yours are one thing doesn't mean that others have got the same. And so it is about having compassion for those life contracts. You don't know that they could be big advanced beings needing to focus on just being neutral and going with the flow, going with the stream of things. And that is very purposeful how they are living their lives. We understand that you're concerned that they're making choices that could harm them or disempower them. But it is not your role to worry about them. Trust the higher dimensional beings that are supporting those others. As we say, we're doing very much work behind the scenes. Of course, there is from time to time nudges that we provide for you to accidentally trigger people for growth. You know those times because you feel very awkward that you have suddenly triggered someone to make them stop and look and think bigger, different from what they have before. But it's those people that are constantly trying to agitate others. And that is the challenge. It's a balance. You know when you've got it right, and you know when you've got it wrong, in approaching people with your bigger truth and wisdom.
Wonderful. Thank you. That sounded like a great way to end this session, unless you had any further insights or thoughts for us.
We understand you're very compassionate and you want to awaken up more than you need to. And that is not your responsibility, so please release it. And also know that sometimes the frustration that you have because others haven't woken up lowers your vibration, and that's disempowering you. Question your motives every time, why you're trying to enforce your belief systems on others. Not necessary. You can still have different contracts and different experiences and still have compassion and love for each other. focusing on yourself is probably the most important thing you can do right now if you're still feeling like you are frustrated with the world. That is a distraction. The outside world is a distraction for you. When you look at your own simplest life, you realize there isn't actually a war going on for you. But you're so tempted to look into the drama of the outside world. You will forget about yourself and your inner work and your love of self and empowerment of self, healing of self experiences that you're still very bitter over, feeling like you were victimized to eat the pickle ice cream. It's releasing yourself from density that no longer serves you is important.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for speaking with us today and for your insight.
The consciousness of Jesus says that he does not feel that he came in and participated much in the conversation, but he wanted you to know that he is appreciative, that you are still trying to share his message. And the message is that he was having to learn his lessons just like everyone else to explore and learn and grow from. And he still found it challenging to be a human, but he still knew that he had a greater mission and a greater message. And he believed in his message a lot because it gave him so much inner peace. And he says that trust and faith, that we're not alone, that we deserve love, we can receive love, and we can be love, is something he wants you to think about regularly and apply it and feel it.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you to all for joining us today.